Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is March 23rd, 2026, and Deco has identified Alejandro Grimaldo as an option for the summer transfer market. Also, Barcelona eyeing Andrea Cambiaso. That is a big news. And finally, German media outlet sources linking Alfonso Davies to Barcelona. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Bo, and I'm still away from home. This is why I'm doing this short live stream to bring you all Barcelona news while I'm on the road. This is not a podcast, so unfortunately, I will not be reading the comments live. Again, this is just to bring you the news since I'm away from my studio, so I cannot film, edit, and post. Now, let's dive right into the news. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the former Barcelona president and the worst Barcelona president in the history of the club, Josep Maria Bartomeu, has once again given an interview to defend his presidency. Yes, he did it already. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. I covered the statements here on the channel, but he has done it once again, alleging that, hey, it wasn't too bad. The club almost ceased to exist, but that's okay. It wasn't too bad. So this is what Bartomeu had to say about his presidency. It wasn't a bad inheritance. It's an inheritance with some good points and some not so good, but it's entirely conditioned by COVID. At that time, Barca was a club in a good sporting and financial position, growing and generating revenue. COVID caused revenue to plummet. And in the 2019, 2020, and 2020, 2021 seasons, Barca suffered a loss of 500 million, which had a significant impact on the club's finances. So once again, Bartomeu using the whole COVID excuse, which look, yes, COVID did have a huge impact on Barcelona and it had a huge impact on all football clubs around the world. But why is it that other clubs don't have a 1.5 billion euro debt? Why? I'll tell you why, Mr. Bartomeu, because you spent crazy amounts of money on everything, on signing players, on their salaries, on club expenses. That is why at one point the salary bill was 900 million euros. So if you're bringing in 1 billion and you're spending 900 million and you only have a cushion of 100 million, guess what? COVID hits, your revenue drops by 500 mil. Guess what? You went from making 1 billion to 500 million, but your expenses are still 900 million. So now you're negative 400 million. So now you have to borrow 400 million every season just to break even. Now, if your expenses were 500 million and you were bringing in 1 billion, and then COVID hits and it drops from 1 billion to 500 million, now guess what? You're breaking even. You don't even have to borrow money. But no, you had to spend all of the club's money. So, of course, when the revenue dipped, your expenses were so high up that we had to borrow so much money in order to cover for those expenses. So, yes, COVID impacted Barcelona. Of course it did, just like any other club. But that's not an excuse for how badly you managed the club. Now, let's continue because Bartomeu also said the wage bill skyrocketed after Neymar's departure. PSG snatched him away by paying his release clause. From then on, we started struggling to prevent other players from leaving, especially since state-owned clubs and the Premier League have immense financial power. More than salaries, it was necessary to raise the release clauses. We increased Messi's release clause from 400 to 700 million. We also increased Alba's and Busquets' clauses to prevent other clubs from being tempted to poach their talent. So here, Bartomeu was kind of like responding to what I just said, that the reason why we were so debt because he was spending so much. So he was trying to say, oh, well, the reason the salaries were so high and the release clauses were so high is because PSG took Neymar. And in order to compete with clubs like PSG and the Premier League, we had to increase. No, you did not. You did not have to increase because you, Mr. Bartomeu, did not understand the power of the FC Barcelona brand, because till this day, a club that's in financial ruin, players are choosing to come here and earn less than what they could in other clubs because they dream of playing at Barca. And you, Mr. Bartomeu, did not understand that. So you were trying to offer salaries higher than anyone else's, fees higher than anyone else's, when you didn't have to. You could have still offered those players normal salaries and they would have still came, just like they're doing right now. Kunde, accepted a lower salary at Barcelona. Rafinha accepted a lower salary at Barcelona. And the list goes on and on and on. Now, let's continue with this, guys, because I don't want to insult him, statements, because Bartomeu here defends his legacy by saying being president of Barca is not easy. When people talk about legacy, they're not talking about the physical assets. We built the Johan Cruyff Stadium. We built La Masia. We built many sports centers. We bought land. We started to move forward with Espai Barça with permits in architecture. And a sporting legacy includes many titles. Now, this is very important. So listen up, Laporta bootlickers. Because whenever Laporta does something bad and I criticize it, you guys jump to his defense. Oh, Laporta has done great things. As if that means that because Laporta has done great things, we cannot criticize the bad things. Well, guess what? Bartomeu also did great things. Bartomeu built the Johan Cruyff. Bartomeu built the new facilities of La Masia. Bartomeu started the Espai Barça project. Without Bartomeu, there is no renovation of the Camp Nou. Bartomeu won 13 titles, including a historical treble. So let's not forget, Bartomeu also did great things, but that does not erase the horrible things that he did. So next time you want to defend Laporta by saying he did great things, remember, Bartomeu also did great things. Anyways, let's move on to the next bit of news because, ladies and gentlemen, we have a big one because Deco has identified Alejandro Grimaldo as an option for the summer transfer market. Now, as you know, Barcelona's priorities are a center forward and a center back, but they're also considering a left back that can compete with Balde in order to put pressure on him. And it seems that Deco believes Alejandro Grimaldo could be a good option. You know, the 30-year-old left back's contract expires in 2027 with Bayer Leverkusen. He does have a 20 million euro release clause. However, this summer he will be entering the final year of his contract. So Barcelona believe that they could sign him for less than that 20 million euro release clause, maybe 15, maybe 10. So Deco believes this could be a good option. You know, my opinion about Grimaldo, you know, any player who's a former La Masia player, who's a former Barcelona player that offers himself to Real Madrid, like Grimaldo has, I don't think they have any space in the club. But what do I know? Hey, if Flick looks at the reports of Grimaldo and his tape and says, hey, he's good enough for me, bring him on, then fuck it, bring him on. But I personally would not want to, because again, not only is he a former Barcelona player, but he's a former La Masia player too. And yet he still offered himself to Real Madrid this summer. I'm sorry, but that's not something you do. Now, on to that next bit of news, and this is a huge one. This is a big one, because, ladies and gentlemen, it's reported that Barcelona are eyeing Andrea Cambiaso, the 26-year-old fullback currently plowing his straight at Juventus. Someone who I personally like because he's a very well-rounded fullback. He's not an offensive fullback that leaves a lot of space behind him. He's also not a fully defensive fullback that doesn't really go up. He's more of both. He's a hybrid of both. He's a well-rounded fullback that has mastered both. When you need him to attack, he goes and attacks effectively. When you need him to defend, he tracks back defensively, tracks back very well. So Andrea Cambiaso, very well-rounded fullback, someone that signed for Juventus back in 2022. He has a contract until 2029 with a 30 million euro market value. And it's reported that Andrea Cambiaso could be looking to leave this summer, along with many other players, if Juventus cannot secure a Champions League spot for next season, which is looking like, well, highly unlikely. Now, it's reported that Barcelona are keeping an eye on what's going on with Cambiaso in case Juventus do not make it to the Champions League. That Barcelona could definitely reach out and find out, hey, so I heard you want to leave if Juventus didn't achieve the Champions League. They're not in the Champions League. You want to come? How much would it be? I personally think this would be an absolute yes for me. I think Cambiaso is an excellent fullback. Plus, he can play on both sides. So instead of signing two fullbacks, he can be the competition for both Kunde and Balde. And my God, what a competition. Watch this guy light fire under both Kunde and Balde's asses. Now, let's end today's video with another fullback because, ladies and gentlemen, German sources are linking Alphonso Davies to Barcelona. Now, the 25-year-old left back has a contract with the Bundesliga club until 2030. Has a market value of 45 million euros. And it's reported that Bayern Munich are open to selling him during this summer transfer market. He's being heavily linked to Manchester United. It looks like Man U are very interested in signing him. However, German sources saying that Barcelona could also be considering this signing. Now, I couldn't verify this from any sources close to Barca, so this could be just a marketing strategy. His agent just trying to, get the name out there, ruffle some feathers. I don't know, but that's what's coming out of Germany, that Barcelona could be interested in Davies. And of course, my question to you is, Grimaldo, Cambiaso, Davies, who would you sign and why? Let me know down below. And with that, that's it. We're done for today. I did go live a few moments ago, so if you haven't seen that yet, make sure to check it out. I'm going to sleep because tomorrow I have a long day. I'm going to be touring around London, mate. Yes, I'm in London. I'm Mo in it. Anyways, that was horrible. That was terrible. I apologize to any English people who watch me. Please keep watching. Please don't stop watching me because of that horrible impression. But thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, these cars.